1920 by 1080. All right, everybody, we are settling in to watch the official Xbox presentation. Here we go.
Hello and welcome to the official Xbox podcast. I'm your host, Tina Amini, and we have a very special episode today, as you can probably tell by the fact that I'm joined by Phil, Sarah, and Matt. Welcome. And we're going to talk about some updates at Xbox. We want to talk about game exclusivity. We want to talk about Activision Blizzard now that they're part of our portfolio, how that might be an impact on Game Pass. And we want to talk about hardware too, and how all of this fits into the strategy at Xbox. So where should we start, Phil?
Please bring those products.
When we originally had planned for the show, starting back in December, I think we probably would have started with Activision Blizzard, maybe talked a little bit about the exclusivity with some of the news coming up, and then hardware. But we've had some unforeseen news that has come out. So let's just go and tackle the exclusivity question, because I know it's on the minds of a lot of people.
Doesn't bother me one way or the other.
That's an important input for us. So we made the decision that we're going to take 4 games to the other consoles, just 4 games, not a change to our kind of fundamental exclusive strategy. We're making these decisions for some specific reasons. We make every decision really with the long-term health of Xbox in mind. And long-term health of Xbox means a growing platform, our games performing, building the best platform for creators, reaching as many players as we can. We're always looking to learn as a leadership team and to grow. And we think this is an interesting point in time for us to use what some of the other platforms have right now to help grow our franchise.
This is going to help in the long run.
So these 4 titles, what are they? Can you
This
say?
will be Xbox
I'm not going to
winning.
name those games. The teams that are building those games have announced plans that are not too far away. As we know, game teams put a lot of energy.
Yeah, so the
into their
rumor is
announcements
Indiana
with the partners.
Jones,
So,
Starfield,
I don't want to take anything
some other stuff
away from those teams.
So he's not going to name any names.
So I won't be talking about the titles specifically, but I think when they come out, it'll make sense.
Can we say if either of those titles are Starfield or Indiana Jones?
They are not Starfield or Indiana Jones.
So they are not those 2 games.
What was the criteria in how the team was thinking about
know.
selecting those 4 titles?
Let me start a little bit outside of that, and then I'll get to the 4 specific games that we're talking about right now. Because the fundamental decision driver for any decision that we make, anything we're going to talk about today, is the long-term health of Xbox. That we're running a growing platform that is reaching more players, that our games are having as much success as possible. And I do have a fundamental belief that over the next 5 or 10 years,
God, Halo would be awesome if they brought that to the PS5. Can you imagine how many more units of Halo they would ship?
Part of the game industry.
Now, granted, it's going to destroy the sales of the Xbox. No, it's not.
And what the biggest games are today, it's a natural place. Whether it's one console and PC, multiple consoles, mobile console and PC, you see big games landing on multiple platforms.
Yes, big games land on multiple platforms.
And we want to be a great platform for creators that are trying to realize that potential. But now back to the specifics of the question on these 4 specific titles. We looked at games that are over a year old. So they've been on Xbox and PC for a while.
That's key. It needs to be exclusive for a while.
A couple of the games are community-driven games, new games that kind of first iterations of a franchise that have reached their full potential, let's say, on Xbox and PC. There's always growth. Franchises that we obviously want to continue to invest in. Part of having the ability to continue to invest is that the businesses behind those franchises continue. We think it's important that these service-based games that have communities behind them, that they can have confidence that they're going to exist in the future. So 2 of them, kind of community-driven games that will end up on other platforms and give us the ability to.
I wonder if Valheim is one of them.
We think that's great for the business and great for the communities, more players to play with. I'd say 2 of the other games are smaller games that were never really meant to be built as kind of platform exclusives and all the fanfare that goes around that. But games that our teams really wanted to go build, that we love supporting creative endeavors across our studios, regardless of size.
Man, Avowed would be a good one to do.
As they realize their full potential on Xbox and PC, we see an opportunity to utilize the other platforms as a place to just drive more business value out of those games, allowing us to invest in maybe future iterations of those, so sequels to those, or just other games like that in our portfolio. And when we don't damage Xbox and we can grow our business using what other platforms have and to help us with that, we're going to do that. And that's really the story behind these 4 games. And last thing I'll say, looking forward, I think there is an interesting story for us of introducing Xbox franchises to players on other platforms.
When he says
to
franchise,
get them more interested in Xbox.
Yeah, I'm just thinking
think there's
Halo,
a good brand value for Xbox there. So 4 games, no promise beyond that. So if you're on those other platforms and you see these 4 games coming, please don't take it as some signal that everything's coming. It's not. And we're going to learn.
So when you are thinking about
data.
the future and this concept of
Split
live
testing,
service
baby.
games that can benefit from bigger audiences, new audiences, how does that apply to future titles and how you're applying that criteria there?
Yeah, there's really no fundamental change to how we think about exclusivity. We just came out of Developer Direct, which was an awesome show, where we showed great games that are coming to Xbox and PC and cloud, which really makes them accessible to hundreds of millions of people. So it's this kind of, we're really focused on a couple platforms and what's going to show up there. But our key of play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, when everybody plays, we all win. These have been part of our strategy for years and will continue to be. Our focus is on how do we continue to grow the games industry by reaching more players in more places, and how do we grow Xbox as part of that. Xbox is a hardware platform, Xbox is a publisher of great games, and Xbox as a platform for the world's best creators.
And then knowing that, how do we think about our first-party games and Game Pass?
Yeah, well, to build on what Phil just said, one thing I would add, as you were talking about growth, is just that we've sort of seen this inversion over the last 5 years where it used to be that the platform was the biggest thing.
That's right.
And the games would sort of tuck in within the platform. Today, big games like a Roblox or a Fortnite could actually be bigger than any one platform.
Yeah,
and that really has changed the way that we think about things. So
everyone was talking about Pal World
we
this
at
morning.
First Party can come back to sort of some core principles.
And looking at Pal World
First,
going, I wonder if Pal World's going to be one of those
Xbox
games.
Platform. Second, all of our games will go into Game Pass on day 1. And third, we know that Game Pass will only be available on Xbox. So there's sort of starting points for us. As Phil mentioned, there are games today that you can play that only can be found on Xbox. And at the same time, we want to bring more of our games to more players. So
yeah, there's the Gears franchise, the Halo franchise.
Kind of moving aside, though, from some of those and thinking more about what does it really mean for the player, to me, the 2 key things are cross-play and cross-save. Those things allow us to deliver on the promise of Xbox, which is play with your friends where they are, play on the devices you want, play the games you want. So that is really only possible at a practical level when you know that your saves and your player are going to be able to move across all those parts. So not all of our games today are necessarily built to take advantage of that. There still will be some games that don't. As we bring more teams into the Xbox family, there's some catch up to do as we get there. But that cross-play, cross-save is like so fundamental to what we're doing, and I think is something that we as First Party get such a good benefit from being so close to the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things, like you said, all of our games are always in Game Pass. And so I'm excited to announce, with the coming together that we had with Activision Blizzard King, that Activision and Blizzard games are coming to Game Pass, starting with Diablo 4 on March 28th, which I'm super
Diablo's coming.
To
Diablo's coming to Game Pass.
And it's all part of our commitment to make Xbox, the Xbox experience, and the games that we build as widely available as possible. So now the 34 million Game Pass members can all enjoy the fantastic experience of Diablo 4.
Diablo 4 is a good game.
Can we come back to the point, Phil, you mentioned at the top, this isn't really a change in strategy for us. Can you recap for me how it isn't?
Yeah, and I thought both Matt and Sarah did a really nice job of talking about what we're doing on Xbox, where we're going. If you take a platform feature like Xbox
like, glad
Play
I didn't buy it.
Anywhere,
I did buy it.
which has
I got a lot of fun out of it with
made
Gila
on the first
when it
party
first
games
came out.
that you can buy our game once. You're going to get play across Xbox and
8
Windows.
months ago or something
I think
like
we're
that.
the only platform that does this. That makes it possible for you not only to play with your friends wherever they are, but to know that you actually have multiple.
It had a good
entitlements
single
to the
player
game.
storyline more than
that's
anything else.
a
Then there's all the,
technology I'd love
if you
to
get
see
into it,
applied
there's
to
the
more
multiplayer and
platforms.
stuff. But
it
I
is
like
this
Diablo 4.
view that people are going to play Xbox.
And I'll be able to play it with my
multiple
brother now because
places.
he has an Xbox, and
Whether
we'll be
it's
able to
the
play it
games
together
you
on
want
the
with people
Xbox.
you
Oh, I need
want,
to send him a
anywhere you
text.
want, whether it's content community in cloud.
Well, I'll send it
when
to him
everybody
afterwards.
plays, we all win.
Because
Like,
he and I will be able to look
taglines,
forward to
different
doing a
strategy,
multiplayer
kind of
Diablo
words
campaign.
that we've used, but always with this view that Xbox is a platform for creators who want to reach the most players. Our investments in xCloud, our investments in franchises like Minecraft and now Call of Duty and other large franchises so that we learn how to build those. This has been a strategy that we've been on for, I'd say, a decade.
Yeah, easily a decade. I was talking about this at the beginning, when they went back and started buying up Obsidian and Exile and so on and so forth.
But rather, the devices that people want to play on should be in service of making the games as big and popular as they possibly could be. Because really, a healthy creator community on Xbox, a healthy creator community in gaming all up, is the thing that all of us as game players should be voting for, because that's the thing that will lead to the best long-term success and growth in this industry.
And my understanding, just from listening and learning from you three over the past few weeks,
I'm not a huge
understanding what's
AARPG
happening with
fan either.
Xbox, is that we see trends with player behavior where people are playing
mildly
on multiple devices. That is
interested
the
in
reality.
Path
And we
of
have
Exile
put some
2.
games out on multiple platforms before. So my understanding is that that's been good for players. How does that come back to the business with all of that in mind?
Yeah, as you said, we have shipped games on other platforms. In fact, realistically, if you look with the addition of Activision and Blizzard and ZeniMax, we're one of the largest game publishers on PlayStation. We're one of the largest publishers on the Nintendo Switch, especially when you put Minecraft into the equation as well. And now we're one of the largest publishers on mobile platforms as well. And that's not something that we want to back away from.
No, because they're going to win the war in terms of
great games that millions.
We have
and
the
millions
most amount of
people
games
can love,
everywhere,
and that they can play those games where
irrespective
they
of
wanna go
this
play.
argument about this
But we
console
do
better than
understand
that
the business
console.
success that Xbox has to have. Us as leaders in this business, the system today, the system that all companies that we play video games from, is a world of you got to be growing your business. Growth in our Xbox business is critical to the long-term health of Xbox. Many people know I've been on Xbox for over 20 years, and I want to make sure Xbox is in the best position for the next 20 years. That means healthy player community, healthy creator community, and healthy business. So when we look at opportunities to allow more people to play, more people to engage, more people to buy, more people to subscribe, it's all about putting Xbox in the best position. And our hardware is a critical component of that. The absolute best experience somebody has on Xbox is hardware that your team builds and that people play on. But that's not going to be everybody. We fully accepted that we're going to have Xbox players across all kinds of devices.
So I think a lot of people think about 2023 as this incredible year for gaming. And in a lot of ways it was. There was some really amazing releases that I think we all enjoyed. But what were the signals behind the scenes that maybe indicated how we wanted to look at the future of Xbox and how we kind of keep up with the industry?
Yeah, such a good question. And I think it's, as people who care about the industry, which I assume is people who are watching this, it was an amazing year. Some great launches, some of the games that I think will stand the test of time and people will be talking about a decade from now. But it's an industry that didn't really grow. And what happens when an industry doesn't grow? You end up with some job eliminations, which we had. We had even our own hard decisions to make about building a sustainable business for ourselves, but in no way were we alone in that. When you think about a healthy industry, I want players who believe that they will find the best games on the platforms that they love. I want people who invest their careers in working here to feel like this is a place that they can be successful. And that really is down to being part of an industry that is growing. If you listen to Lisa Su, the AMD CEO, she'll say that AMD-powered consoles are likely to decline in 2024. I think there's an amazing set of games coming in 2024, but if we don't get to growing as an industry, the industry will struggle. And today there's really two choices on how do you grow the industry. Do you say, I have a fixed number of players, the players that we have today, and do I find new ways to monetize those players to get more money from the players that I have? Or do you think about how do I expand the business I have by finding new players and adding those to the base of players that already play? Our focus on Xbox for the last decade has really been on that latter point of how do we make sure Xbox is growing for our players, growing for our creators.
Yeah, I don't care either way.
So those people
Bubble
are
Onion.
finding
If the
success
console has good games,
on our
I'm happy to play
platform,
it.
which will grow the Xbox business.
I like
and put Xbox in a position to be very strong for years.
Like I said, I would have bought a PS5
Matt,
had
earlier
it been
you were
available.
talking about these growing
Now it's
gaming
widely available, but I don't
communities,
feel
how
the
they're
need to go spend
incredibly
another,
large,
$600 just to have another
comparable
console for
on
like
such a different level
3
when
or
we
4
think
games a
about
year
console
that I would play on the
audiences. Like
PS5
you mentioned
because
Roblox,
everything
you mentioned Fortnite.
else
So
is
how are
available
we?
everywhere.
We're obviously thinking about our responsibility, our hardware responsibility is supporting the growth of gaming communities. How has that actually shown up for the players? Are there other games we can speak to from our portfolio?
Well, as Phil mentioned, I mean, two of the biggest ones for us, Call of Duty and Minecraft, I mean, they are driven just from the bottom up by the communities of people that play those games, which is so great. I think about it for the player community, it comes down to where are the friends, where are the people you play with, and then equally important is where have you built up your library of games, right? Where have you invested? Where's that library? I think those two things probably are some of the biggest influences on where people choose to play and what devices they choose to play.
Yeah.
When we think
I
about
still have way more
on
games
the
in my
other side, the
PlayStation
developer
library than I
side,
do in my Xbox.
just any game developer wants their game to find the biggest audience possible. That's just the nature of building a game. You want people to enjoy and participate in what you've made. And I think we're in a unique position to deliver on that just because we are the platform. We build hardware, we've got a first-party games group, and then we've got a system that ties that together, that brings together your friends, your progression, your achievements, all of that. And I think that's really what has contributed to the momentum behind some of these communities.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at, just step back and you look at the history of the industry, we've moved from a place where it used to be that someone built and launched a game to accelerate hardware to actually the things we do with our hardware and with our platform are all in service of making those games bigger. And we think about that across all of the investments we make, the consoles we build, the investments we do with things like cross-play, cross-progression, the things that we're doing with cloud. How do we actually give more options to game creators so they can have the greatest success? I think one of the fun recent examples about this is actually Pal World. You know, Pal World was able to launch, they were at Game Preview, they launched in Game Pass, they also simultaneously launched in Steam. And through the combination of those things, you know, Pocket Pair was able to have this outsized success, and it was the largest third-party Game Pass launch ever. And that's all because we give creators options on how they can launch their games. We've got subscription, we've got retail, we've got free-to-play, we've got Game Preview. We have the consoles, we have our experience on PC, and they can access all of those things. And when we step back and we just look at the performance of our platform all up, we know it's working. We're at the highest level of users on console, the highest level of users on PC, the highest level of users on cloud
total
ever. We have double-digit growth rate on PC and cloud, places where we're enabling creators to actually reach new players beyond the console ecosystem. And that's why we're leaning into it and doing more, because we see all those signals.
So we're talking about the role that hardware plays for creators, for the games and those communities. What about the role that hardware plays for us as a business, for Xbox?
When we look at our hardware, it really is.
Everyone's like, they're going to stop building Xbox
It's where you get like the most flagship seminal experience of Xbox. And it also represents a developer target. Our developers can build the specs of our hardware, and we invest to make sure they know when they do that, that the games are going to run great on our hardware, but they're also going to be able to be accessed across any screen because of all the other investments we make. So we're giving them an easy way to access as many players as possible. And we actually have more creators right now building for Xbox than ever before by nature, thousands of them by nature of those investments. And we got more to come.
These are the last
some
10
exciting
years of
stuff
investments,
coming out
by
in
the way.
hardware that we're going to share this holiday. And we're also invested in
something
the
about
next
hardware
generation
announcements
roadmap.
coming up.
And what we're really
holidays,
focused on there is delivering the largest technical leap you will have ever seen in a hardware generation, which makes it better for players and better for creators and the visions that they're building.
Hyping up that
and
next Xbox.
And when we're talking about hardware too, there's these other considerations that are really important to our community, probably to each one of ourselves as well. When you talk about library, because I want to dig in on that a little bit more. You know, as we talk about cloud in the wider entertainment industry, there's conversations about streaming. How is that impacting how I own my content that I've invested in? So what can we say about our stance around game preservation?
Yeah, you know, one of the highlights for me of being in this position was getting to stand on stage when we announced the back compat coming to Xbox One. Like, it was fantastic.
That was a really cool announcement.
Before I could read it, I'm a slow reader, and just feeling the energy in the auditorium as we were saying that and online. One of the cues I think us as being part of Microsoft take is looking at Windows and how Windows over decades has maintained software compatibility with things that are built on it. Like I can still go back and play some of the games that I love playing on Windows from decades ago, and it will still run. And we try to bring that same view to consoles. It's harder in console because the line between what the hardware is and what the game is in consoles is traditionally, it's tighter, which makes compatibility, you end up doing these generational compatibilities that we've built. But I will say compatibility, the ability to not only play the games, but my saves are still there with our cloud save systems to try to keep the services up as long as we can so that people can play, is a tenet of what we are as Xbox. It's at our foundation. And when we look at future hardware generations and what we're going to support, making sure that we respect, which is the word I use, respect the investments that people have made in Xbox going forward is fundamental. And the fact that you get entitlements when you buy a game from us on both Windows and Xbox also means you have the ability to play that game across a multitude of devices, which I think furthers the compatibility.
It does help because then you're not locked to a single thing.
Can we go back to what Xbox stands for today? I think we've pretty much covered all of the elements, but if you could break it down for me.
You know, when you play on Xbox, what we're saying is you're playing on a platform where you know the biggest games in the world are always going to be. You're playing on a platform where you get to access Game Pass. And all of the games from our incredible range of studios will always launch in Game Pass day one.
Like my family plays together because of Game Pass. Like we're playing Sea of Thieves together. We're playing Minecraft together.
Cross-save, cross-progression, backwards compatibility. Being able to play your games in your library anywhere you want because of the investments that we make in cloud gaming. And so you're playing
that means I can whip out my phone and I can literally play one of my Xbox games on my phone. It's amazing.
And I think most importantly, Xbox is a place where you know when you're investing in Xbox, you're investing somewhere that is dedicated to making games more successful and creators more successful.
So there's a lot of PR talk in this presentation.
So even better experiences to you all of the time.
It feels like
just that investment in the studios.
They probably would have rolled this news out as Phil said at the beginning. They were going to roll it out in a different manner, but because of
kind of amazing now to look out
panties in a wad about
all the studios we've got,
4 games coming to
just be reminded that we're now one of the biggest development organizations
outside
in the
of exclusivity.
What does that mean
started
for players?
Nasty rumors.
It means that the biggest games are going to continue to come to
announcement
Xbox.
in a different way
and,
to sort of
this
patch up
2024, the year coming up,
mistaken
we've got more than 10 major releases coming up. Great stuff. Hellblade 2.
Yeah, Hellblade 2.
We've got Diablo expansion. We've got Avowed, Ara, the Indiana Jones game, and there's more in development, which I think we're going to be able to share more about at our June showcase.
June is almost here.
Well, I guess I should get ready to work on that show.
Yes, you should. Your chunk gets bigger when you invest in Xbox.
Thank you all for showing up on the podcast today, and we'll see the rest of you this June.
Yeah, June's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. So, ultimately, I don't think that there was anything talked about here that was groundbreaking. I think this was just them coming in to patch up the dam, so to speak, because word got out that they were going to be having some games break exclusivity to come to other platforms. And so the rumor mill started going crazy about how it's going to be Indiana Jones, it's going to be Starfield. And he did say during this that it's not going to be Starfield or Indiana Jones, but some of the games that they've had, which are, they use the word community-driven games. So if I had to guess, they're looking at things like Pal World, maybe Valheim, I don't know. They're looking at games that have an online community-driven component. Those are the games. If you listen to what they said during this presentation, they weren't talking about single-player RPGs. They were talking about games that had online community-driven components. Those are the games they're looking at having break the mold of no longer being exclusive to only Xbox. I could think of games like Grounded, Valheim, Palworld, Minecraft as being titles that if those were to bridge the gap and go from beyond being just Game Pass games and being available everywhere. And maybe Grounded is, I don't know exclusively, if those games are everywhere, but That's what I hear them talking about. If you At least my interpretation of what they discussed today was that the games that are going to be coming to other platforms are games that have already been existing within the Xbox uh, ecosystem for a while now and are community driven games, which means there's an online component to them. So I think that's what we can expect to see. Having them talk about things like Starfield and exactly, Bronlock. They specifically they did say, and I mentioned the split testing comment earlier. um, they're testing the waters to determine whether or not this is going to be something that they want to dive into even deeper in 2025 and beyond. Like, is the risk going to pay off in terms of that investment? Are those games going to see enhanced viewing, more players coming in because now it's available on more platforms? And I do love the fact that they talk about, yes, we're getting ready to announce around the holidays is what she said. The president said around the holidays they're going to be announcing the next hardware for the Xbox, which I'm excited to see what that might be. um, like I said, I don't really care one way or the other. If I had a bigger budget, I would own everything. And just also, if everything was more easily available, I remember just during the pandemic and everything else, like trying to find a PlayStation was just an impossibility. Now they're everywhere, but I don't feel compelled to spend $600 for another device when I mean, there's only like 3 or 4 games per year that are exclusive to the PlayStation that I would feel like I would need to play. Like, Last of Us is a good example. Helldivers 2, that's a good example. But those are few and far between. Like, I just like to play games. So, um, most of the companies that I know and love are part of the Xbox families, so it makes sense for me to spend more time in the Xbox community because I think things um, you know, like Obsidian Entertainment and Exile make RPGs that I've loved for years and years and years. And having those games be within the Xbox family is fine for me because I've already loved those games. Yeah, there probably are some tech issues between DirectX and OpenGL and some of that stuff too that factors into this. Um, but also, I would love to say, and we can already see that they're already making strides to adding more stuff to Game Pass because we've got Diablo coming to. I did not know that, Babylonian. Final Fantasy 14 is already coming to Xbox next month. That's a big jump. That's cool. Um, Diablo 4 coming to Game Pass is a big move because it was already cross-play everywhere else, but now they're just adding it to Xbox, which will give even more players a reason to play it and more accessibility. I gotta remember to send my brother a message about that because we'll definitely. I would say you could expect to see some type of Diablo content from me. Probably not very regularly because my brother doesn't get a big chance to play that often. But I would say we'll probably start doing some Diablo 4 at some point this year. Screen size is awesome. I love. I haven't played on my big screen in a while because I do everything here at the desk. But I do love. In a perfect world, I would have a $30,000 man cave, and I would have a 80-inch screen on the wall, and I would go have a beanbag and just kick back. I don't have that anymore. So anymore, what am I talking about? I've never had that. So I don't mind. I have a 28-inch monitor, which is fine for me, and then I have a big 50-inch, which we watch movies on. And I did play on that for a long time until I switched over and started doing this for a living. And so now I just play here at the desk all the time. Um, it's going to be interesting what they do with World of Warcraft, if that's something they bring to consoles or not, if they're going to make that investment. And long term, what are the other games that we're going to see coming out over the years? So I think for me, like I said, this was a big PR event. I feel like they probably would have waited to make their announcements until June, but because people were leaking information and making these stupid rumors about how they're canceling the Xbox, they're no longer going to be building consoles, they're no longer going to be released. It's going to be every game is going to be everywhere, so that's no longer going to be exclusive. There's no reason to buy an Xbox. Like all these doomsayers, it's just that was nothing but. I'm so glad that I waited. I specifically said I'm not going to put out anything on my channel or any of my channels about Xbox until I watch the event. I'm very glad I did because that's the only way you can make sure that you're getting the right information to the people instead of making newsmongers up. And I guess it gets clicks and views for some people, but I'd rather be right than have to record something 6 different times. Anyway, Bubble says I'm not trying to compare. I'd trade TV and the easy chair for House of Mexico tomorrow. I don't even use the TV either, like you were saying. Like we haven't even had a Netflix subscription in 2 years. Like there are things we will specifically like if there are things we will, rent or subscribe to when there are shows that we really, 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 really want to watch. But there's lots of different things to watch, lots of different things to do, lots of different sources of entertainment these days. So, the TV, honestly, that thing is only turned on maybe twice a week right now. And it's, we've had it for, I think I bought that 5 years ago. It's a nice smart TV. Chris and I were actually talking about the other day. How long is it going to last? I was like, I don't know. If I take care of it, it might last us 20 years. You never know. But I don't feel a need to ever upgrade it at the moment because I never use it. I never turn it on. So we'll see. Anyway, folks, that's the news. I'm going to head out from here, get this cut, uploaded to YouTube. So thanks to those of you who tuned in live to this on Twitch as part of the special event stream. We do occasionally things here exclusive to Twitch. And then everything else is multi-streamed between here and YouTube. So thanks for contributing, watching, hanging out, etc. Loki. I need to watch the second season of Loki. Haven't done that yet. I'm going to head out, get this cut out, upload it to YouTube. And if you're watching over on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. See you guys tomorrow. I'll be back live again, same time, same place. Peace.